Everybody, we back here again at Double E Boxing Show, and Evans is back.
Hey, I'm back. We want to welcome you to Double E Boxing Podcast, and it is a pleasure to be back in Houston, and I am really trying to adjust back to this
Time zone,
the humidity, but I like Houston. And today we have special guest, the comeback kid.
Rebirth. How you guys doing? This is Kevin Luna, boxer from Guatemala, and I'm very delighted to be here with you guys.
We have a lot of questions. We got a lot of shit to cover.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, why did you stop boxing?
I stopped boxing because, there was a point in time that I was working and boxing at the same time. I was taking my second son. Hopefully once he gets older, he doesn't see this video though. But he's the one that retired me.
We want him to see.
He's the one that retired me though, because in a good way. I got to be a dad. But yeah, so I started taking my second one. I was trying to put him into boxing. I started taking him to the boxing gym. It was not like before that I used to take out the boxing bag, my boxing gloves, and go spar. Now I had to come out and take out the corral for my son, the milk and everything. Had to set up in the gym, and then I will go work out. Then he'll wake up, I had to just get off the gym, the ring, to go help him out or to calm him down, and then we'll go back in. So I would see people that would be like, oh man, he's actually trying, he's gonna be good. And I actually seen other people looking at me with petty, like, man, this guy just, he's not gonna make it, Like, for instance, Rudy Hernandez, great coach, amazing. I loved, he was a very nice critic, because he will tell you things how they were, like, if you were not gonna make it, he'll tell you right there. If there was a problem, he'll tell you right there. But that was kind of like an eye-opener, I took a fight with Elvis Rodriguez.
Say his name one more time.
Elvis
so
Rodriguez.
So that people could see who you fought.
Elvis, the kid, Dominican kid Rodriguez. I took it about 2 weeks notice.
2 weeks notice.
Yeah, so I took the fight. I knew him from the amateurs. I was like, no, this I could take him. I knew him, for different tournaments. So I was very familiar with them. But the difference was that this is the thing. I pulled out because I didn't want to have excuses. But once I pulled out because I wasn't 100%. I was 70% onto the fight. I was still working and going to the fights. And then I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, but that's every boxer in the United States." Yes, but you're going against an elite fighter that just comes, eats, trains, and sleeps. And that's when I noticed. I didn't want to be a journeyman, so I decided to pull out, build my business, so I could come back and do 100% in boxing. But my business, it was supposed to take about a year, but I got stuck in the business. Business went good, and then
start making money.
I got stuck in the business, and then I wanted to leave a legacy for my kids.
Right.
And eventually, I moved out to Houston. In Houston, I tried to find a gym. It was a little harder. I did jump from gym to gym, but it was really not like what I was looking for. So then I pulled out for a little bit, and it was now to talk to you guys that I decided to make my comeback.
man. You know how I found him?
I was great. Say,
man, I went down through Box Rec. I kid you not, I went down through Box Rec, and I was looking. Remember how I told you I wanted to get deep into the community?
Yeah.
For the Latinos.
Yeah. But you said Guatemala.
Yeah, I wanted to see because I know there's talent there.
Okay.
But we're just not our names, our country's name's just not out there like that, especially in the boxing community. So I went down to the Box Rec, and I was like, man, I know, we're gonna look at the weight classes. I'm like probably 147 and below. And I went through and I seen his name, and I was like, man, he's had a short career. I saw his boxer. I'm like, I wonder what happened. So I looked him up, found him, shoot him a message. I'm like, see if he responds. And then boom, here we are.
Nice.
And you got him training.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm always rooting for the underdog, right? In so many ways, you're really not an underdog, right? And that's why I said so many ways. Like, you've been away from the sport, and the thing that I believe is going to help you move you forward in the sport is your background. Like you've been in the ring with people now who some are champions.
Yes, sir.
You know, I trained. I told you earlier. I trained Kenny Sims when he fought Elvis Rodriguez, and when you told me you fought him, I know Rodriguez is a puncher. He could box too, but you know, we know the things that can give him problems. But you had a background, a really solid background, and a good thing is that you knew that the sport was trying to turn you into a punching bag,
Yes, sir.
and you left at a good time in your career. Now they say you got 3 losses, right?
3 losses.
Okay, so that's it. We're not gonna lose no more. But that is the number where they start saying, okay,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna call him and we can get him.
No, and I appreciate you calling me. On reality, I think that's what I needed. Again, I mean, right now we really haven't done anything. We're just getting started,
Yeah.
And now this is the thing. I'm not coming back because of money. Fortunately, I did make my business, the legacy for my family. But this is something that
Just
I always
something
had.
that's
I
still
always had
inside.
that itch, and then it just one thing I tell my wife is just that my wife is a great support. Is that I
forget the wife.
want to live a legacy. I want to leave. I want people to remember me. I don't want just my kids to remember me after I pass away. But to be honest, that's the thing. I want a statue in Guatemala. Somewhere in my pueblo, somewhere. I want to be remembered. I want to do good things for kids. I want to show kids. I mean, people get the wrong idea about sports, about boxing. They think it's about a cockfight, just
Think it's just a
bunch of
brutal,
roosters
gruesome
fighting.
sport.
Yeah.
In reality, this Bill's character, I could have ended up bad. I mean, I was raised in California. I could have ended up bad, from the neighborhoods that I was. But boxing, I always kept me in a straight line, and that's what I want for the kids.
Yeah.
But then now, again, I mean, I do see a lot of fighters. I do see Lindolfo Delgado. I see Evins Rodriguez. I see a bunch of fighters out there that that I've been in the ring with, that I've been around with, and that I could have been there. So that's the reason why I want to come back. I mean, now you're not gonna give it from me like a average thing. I mean, if I'm gonna come back and do this, it's gonna be 100%. And then hold this video accountable for it. Like hold me accountable for it. And then if not, you guys could roast me. I'm good with that. But we're gonna come 100%.
So you said a lot of stuff, a lot of good solid stuff, right? You 100% sure?
I'm 100%, man. I wouldn't be wasting your time. That's one thing with time, though. I mean, I'm halfway my life type of thing. I mean,
No, you're not halfway,
so
sir.
let's say
Don't
nowadays.
you're not I'm still young, and they say I'm halfway.
No, but let's say
You ain't halfway yet.
Let's say okay, to boxing, I'm already type of like towards the end. Now I wouldn't spend my time, rather than I could go travel or do things. Because now I'm able to do that rather than spending hours in the gym.
Right.
Today we work out. You sent me a message last night that we're gonna work out today in the morning. I wouldn't spend, now that I know the value of time, I wouldn't spend the time of my life just training if I'm not gonna do anything. So if I am gonna spend time, is because I'm gonna do something.
Okay, I like that. So what is so when you see guys that I don't know, you win, you beat them or lost, whatever. So when you see guys like Rodriguez, are you feeling? I don't want to say regret. Are you feeling like I could kick his ass?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not in boxing you can't really, from boxing to boxing, you can't disrespect and say like that. Even though that's what buys fights though. But I mean, I know I'm in that level. I mean, I do have the pedigree. I do have the experience. It's just that at the end of the day, I mean, you do see that. For instance, before you wouldn't think about strength and conditioning and stuff like that, but now like everybody's using it. That's like the boost, that everybody has. So I didn't some of the things I didn't have the boost. Somebody's playing with what's called with an upgrade. Why not me getting an upgrade as well? So if I was to get the same thing, like being boxing 100%, go work out at like 6 a.m. in the morning, have the time to work out at 12 or at 8 a.m. without having to worry about work, then I'll be 100%. So that's what I have now. I mean, yeah, because of my business, it did take me a little longer, but now, I mean, thanks to the business, I'm able to go back and now do
be 100%.
do the boxing not so much for necessity, but because of what's it called?
Passion,
Because of passion.
Yeah. Because I was great. I was great. To say like I can only like use myself because I had to work and train as a track and field professional at one time. And I think I told you the story
believe
where the
so.
kid was telling me, Coach, shouldn't you be working? And should you be training full time? Why are you working with us?
That's my
And,
job.
and what I'm telling you, this kid was like what we call one of the toughest kids. I won't say worse, but he's one of the toughest kids to deal with. And this is before the '96 Olympics.
Okay.
I was training in Virginia. I was working and I got comfortable with training and working. And the kid said something profound. I was like, profound like that. I was like, damn, this kid is right. You know, so I didn't think that it was taking a toll on my body until I wasn't at the job 8 hours. I'd get up in the morning, take a run, go home and eat. I got sponsorship off of what the kids said, and that shit made a big difference. You know, and I was just, I was a track and field guy. I couldn't even imagine, having to work and go to the boxing gym, and I've been there for spar, yeah, and then get hit and all that shit, and then go back home and have to work. The toll on a body is tremendous. So, shit, shout out to whoever came up with the idea. You getting the business, your business. What's your company? What's the name?
My company is Luna and Sons Trucking. We do a lot of pretty much transportation, from the terminals.
Okay.
We started originally from California. We're doing a lot of business during the COVID times. I believe it was bad for a lot of people, but it was good in business for us.
For you.
Eventually, we moved out to Houston. Right here. I didn't know a lot of gyms, but yeah, right here we grew as well. We were running a lot of numbers out here, and that's what kind of got me a little, pretty much the freedom for me to go back to this.
So shout out to your business. Shout out to the. I'm almost done with this. Shout out to your business, but man, I honestly, I'm excited. I get excited about a lot boxing itself, but people tell me why you always take on the toughest task.
Why?
And yeah, why not? But at the same time, like when I tell people I'm working with this guy who has he has pedigree, he's a professional fighter, left the game and came back. The top of the game, you're like, Evins, you out of your fucking mind. Why are you wasting your time? So I never waste my time. And
There's always learning. Always learning.
Yeah. So far, so good.
As we had talked before, when we started on this project, is that as soon as you see that I'm not really taking it seriously, that's when we call it quits. So
I'm gonna call it quits.
So that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't like I said, I don't. This is my last chance type of thing,
Yeah.
So this is the last chance. That's when you finally pretty much put all into it,
This is a Rocky
So
Balboa
yeah,
story right
type
here.
of thing, Adrian,
Okay. We're not gonna be beaten up like Rocky, though. We're gonna do the beating up.
But again, I just want to do this. This is my passion, and this is what I want to do. I want to do this for my country. I do know that pretty much we do have a great athlete right now holding us his back, Lester Martinez, but I do want to help him out with that as well. There's a lot of upcoming prospects as well out of California, out of Guatemala that the world doesn't know about now just yet, but they will know. There's such as the Mijangos. There's Carlos Ramirez. There's of course Lester Martinez. Shouldn't even the name. They already know about him.
I heard that name. You told me about.
Yes, I told you about him quite a while ago. I remember, and
Give him the mic.
and shoot, man, it's crazy.
So
you see how the connections work?
No, he's fighting right now.
No, he already fought.
He's an active fighter.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
active fighter. He just had his fight about 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? He had his fight
The 29. We had
the same night as Cordell.
Oh,
You guys'
the
fight, if
22nd.
I'm not mistaken. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had his fight on the 22nd, and it was on Pro Box. I think they were out in San Bernardino, California. I believe so. Yeah, and he did great. And I've been listening to him being spoken about on other shows and whatnot, and he's getting good feedback. He's getting love from the people I've seen. So you know, it's a good thing.
It sounds like you kind of talk some shit about Guatemala fighters. Guatemalan fighters, are they coming back or not? I mean, what we got?
I would say we're not coming back. We're
been here.
coming out. Yeah, we're coming out to expose.
We actually, Guatemalan fighters, we've been here. You know, we haven't had that proper exposure.
Okay.
There's such. I mean, probably. I mean, a lot of people are here. Well, I mean, within the profession, not gonna know about this name, but within the amateurs, they will. Especially Oscar Valdez, you know, is gonna know about Juan Reyes. You know, he remembers him.
Oscar, he talking about you.
Nah, Oscar's my boy.
Oscar.
But anyways,
you can get that work too.
He fought on several times. You know, I've sparred Oscar Valdez. He's an amazing fighter. But I mean, he did fought, you know, Juan Reyes several times, you know, in the amateurs. You know, very, very competitive fights, you know. But then again, when I spoke, I remember when I went to Guatemala to join the national team, I would speak to Juan Reyes or to other fighters, and I was like, hey, why didn't you jump pro? And they say because they were scared to leave the country. And I was like, you don't have to leave the country. I mean, you could just go fight and then come back and then you get a visa.
True.
So what you mean scared? Like what's the?
Yeah, so they didn't want to.
Closed-minded. They're scared to make that leap.
Yeah, so they were scared
Going
to
to the unknown, I guess. If you
correct.
Okay.
And then everybody just put some in the head, that, and their head is just I'm just gonna make money from the national team and I'm good. They get just a salary and they're good. But I'm like, hey, you could just inspire to get so much more. But they just, they're scared of the unknown, and that's completely understandable. And I do remember, Saúl Dieguez did mention that he wanted to reach out to Juan Reyes, but he didn't know how to do it.
Wait. Saúl Dieguez, the one with Crawford.
Yeah, Saúl big, famous Saúl Dieguez.
Is that the coach?
That's the coach. Also, helping out with Lester Martinez.
See how small
would love to. We would love to have him in this show. But yes, he's a Guatemalan boxer. Well, he was in the national team several years before us. But amazing. But then he came to the United States. I believe he went to Coach Bowman's what's it called? Bomac.
And Top Rank Gym.
Yes.
I was out. I met the coach, the little guy.
Yeah, but he went to Nebraska, and then from there he said he was training there, and eventually, that's when Crawford was upcoming, and then eventually that's what set up a really good team. So now they have Lester Martinez. But yeah, so I believe he tried to reach out to Juan Reyes, but he didn't know how to, and that's the reason why also Juan Reyes. Maybe if he would have reached out to Juan Reyes, he would have become a great professional. But
I see something.
But
I do too.
I see something. On the real, I've been in Vegas for the last, I don't know. I did 2 camps with Michaela. Michaela Mayer lives in WBO still world champion and still.
Shout out to Michaela.
Toast to Michaela in the victory. We'll talk about that on the next podcast.
Apple juice. No, it's orange juice.
Yeah. So it's funny because this is the first time that I honestly thought about living in Vegas because of boxing. I don't really like Las Vegas because I don't gamble, and the social life, the women they're different.
Here we go.
I'm single. They marry.
I'm single. I'm not talking about girls here, eh?
Yeah, I'm talking about me. I wasn't connected to nothing but boxing.
Okay.
Boxing and a coffee shop I found, Makers and Finders. Shout out to Makers and Finders. So I went to the Top Rank Gym.
Okay.
And I met Frank.
Okay.
He runs the gym. Real cool conversation. And I'm a likable guy. I'm a likable guy. If you don't like me, then something wrong. But he says if I ever come to Vegas, I got the opportunity to work at the Top Rank Gym. Also, shout out to True at DLX, one of the other boxing gyms, bigger boxing gyms in Vegas, where all the top guys go to train. Javante Davis, Kamel Moulton, he trains with Michaela's coach. All the Caleb Plant. So what I'm saying is that what I said I see is that it's gonna take us a trip. Jump on Southwest, I call Frank and say, listen, we want to come, and you connect with the guy. A handshake or whatever. Y'all from the same place. So You know what I mean? Like this is crazy, bro. You said that. Like
I told
this.
you, the boxing world is big, but at the same time, it's really small.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you've
Yeah,
been
of
in
course.
LA, you seen it, you run into everybody. And what's crazy is I was speaking to my buddy in LA, and we were talking about boxing because, like I told you, he used to work with Fight Hub and Ellie Sec.
Ellie Setback.
Ellie Setback.
Yeah.
Ellie's cool. Ellie's my boy. I like
Back in the
Ellie.
day, and he was like, "Yeah, bro, man, I ran into Leo Santa Cruz at a rave," and I'm like, "What in the world?"
Nah, I used to spar Leo Santa Cruz. I helped him out for a Frampton fight, and I mean,
You see, he's always been there. He's always
no,
been there.
You know what? I had a good friend, Andy Vences. You know, we fought last fighting amateurs. I mean, he has an amazing gym out there in San Jose, California. You know, shout outs to Andy Vences. He sent me a message like, "Hey, how do you get all this work?" Because he seen me sparring Lomachenko, Leo Santa Cruz. He seen me Oscar Valdez,
That is
and
crazy.
several other world champions. And I was like, "Man, I'm just hungry. I'm just looking, you know, for. I mean, not looking for exposure or anything like that. I want to just
for
get
work.
that type of sparring. I remember after the 2012 Olympics, right? Jose Ramirez had come back, and I was telling my coach, "Hey, I want to go spar him." And he was like, "Hey, Kevin, you gotta relax, you know." But we never got a chance to spar Jose Ramirez. But yeah, that's one thing I always wanted to go. Once when I went to spar Lomachenko, I remember that they just said, "Hey, no, he needs sparring." So I drove. It was about from Los Angeles to Oxnard. It was about an sure traffic over there is really bad, but about 2 hours and a half. But once I went over there, I mean, there was several sparring partners. They all fell down. I was the one to stay consistent. But I got paid, and I was like, "Wow, I got paid!" I was like,
Okay, it was worth the 2 hours.
No, I wanted to pay. You know, I was like, okay, so how much? You know, I wanted to pay to spar him, but actually, I got paid, and it was
the other way around.
It was because I mean, the amount of experience that you get sparring this type of fighters is insane. I mean, it's like getting I've put it in school. You know, getting a college degree. You know, within.
Yeah.
You know, like a week or so, you know. So that's one thing. I mean, I was looking for fighters or looking for who was making noise, you know, so I could go spar them.
Yeah.
I was gonna spar Arnold Barboza, but we never set it up. But yeah, no, Arnold Barboza, he's my boy. I always told him, you know, he had amazing work ethic. He was from South El Monte, so he's like about 30 minutes from where I was at. You know, sparring Javier Molina. Oscar Molina was a little too big. Now I believe I'm a little bigger than him, but we could work something out, you know. But they were amazing fighters, you know. I always got exposed to that type of sparring, and that's what kind of made me grow. But then one thing my coach Mando Huerta would say back then is that pretty much I would look amazing in the gym, but once I went to fight, and it was different. But it was because I was trained, you know. It was so it was not the same type of preparation though, but I did get the work, I did get the experience, the IQ and everything, and that's something that I want to put together with the right, condition, right preparation, and the right training, you know, and show something.
So let's stay on what you were saying about because I train fighters too, athletes. Period. There's something about the show. Like the dance, that's why they call it March Madness, right? Mm-hmm. Because the madness stands for anything, any fucking thing can happen, right? But you got to be at the dance. But when you get an opportunity to be at the dance, you got to perform. You know what I'm saying? So when we get to the dance, we're gonna be ready to perform. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be no like you everybody that you mentioned. If I had to have a list. There's a high percentage of most of my world champions or former world champions.
That's crazy, yeah, because everybody you mentioned has had the title shot or has held the belt.
Yeah. I was trying to find you something on that I had on my phone earlier, and go ahead. Let me find this, and I'm gonna show you.
With you being with all these, you know, champions, former champions, and all that stuff, did that help inspire all the other fighters in Guatemala that are you know, still, you know, going in between back and forth and making that leap?
Absolutely. When I was doing that, there was this gym from my good friend Christian Lopez. It was called Street Training Boxing. They started training out of the street, literally. and then they started getting
went by
big.
the
So
name.
my job was to, in reality, my job was to go when I would go spar, Leo Santa Cruz, Oscar Valdez, to get a shout out, like, hey, shout out to street training boxing. And but yeah, so once I will get messages from a lot of boxers from Guatemala and how was I doing and thanks and this and that. After I turned pro, then we have a lot of boxers. There was Michelle boxing. She jumped into pro boxing. Lester Martinez, he sent me a message. He asked me, how was the thing or some type of advice. The thing is that I told him he had to just jump on, and just leave the amateurs because he had a lot of potential and he could do a lot of things. So he turned pro, and then eventually that's when I started seeing boxing booming. A lot of promotional companies coming out in Guatemala. But then at the end, we didn't have that when I was there. But I did see that after I turned pro, I did see the big growth.
Wow. Let's see, how do I put this? When in about 10 years from now, how you think things are gonna look back home with the sport? You believe there's gonna be a better amateur background for instance, how you mentioned you were in the Pan Am and all that stuff. You think we're gonna have a better? I'm glad Triple G saved us, because Triple G got us back into the Olympics. I'm glad for that. Hopefully the corruption don't mess with, because it's a mess with
when you winning, everything is good.
Yeah.
People want to be associated with winners, so the goal is to constantly win. That ain't no pressure, because all we do over here is win.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So we ain't looking none of that. But when you're winning, it's really politics unspoken. Everybody wanted to be around Ali because he was a fucking winner.
Yeah, you ain't lying there.
Everybody wanted to be around Floyd Mayweather because he's a fucking winner. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I remember Sergio Martinez saying it, and it's quoted everywhere. He's like, when I won, 300, 500 messages. When I lost, 2 missed call or 5 missed calls or something, and all of them was from his mother.
Okay, I do want to say something about that. When after I won the Pan Am Games, I remember I put my phone down the day of that I won the Pan Am Games, and then after I kept on fighting amateurs. My birthday, my phone would freeze. Everybody would send me messages, and it was crazy, really crazy. But then after I retired from boxing, I stopped boxing. The only one that was sending me messages was shout outs to Carlos Lopez, from Guatemala, a great legend from Guatemala, trainer. He still says me happy birthday, even though he's fast. He's like, happy birthday, ciao, adios, like fast, kind of like going in and out. And like 2 or 3 people, my wife, of course, she kind of always surprises me, even though I always know she's gonna do something for me. And but then that's the thing. Once you're in the spotlight, everybody tries to be around there. But once you stop, like Gervonta Davis said, it gets lonely out here, I believe it.
I found something. This is what I want. This is what I want you to keep. And I don't even know this guy. But what he said, it hit home with me, and because even with women that's walking, the young women, they always have a time. Woman, I should be married by this time, and I don't have any kids, and I'm 35, I don't have a husband. Well, guess what? It ain't on that time. They do. We're like, damn, I don't fucking have no. I need this. I need to have my business done by this time. I need to have this by this time, because society puts us in that fucking fucked up mindset, right? And when I saw this thing made me emotional. Let me hear this guy. Check this out.
You've never been in, and with people you don't even know.
Watch this.
They've been talking about you, and let me tell you what they say about you. They say that you are a habitual winner. They say everything they've done to try to stop you has not worked. They say they threw salt and you turned it into seasoning. And instead of it being sour, you made it taste better. They say they threw stumbling blocks and you turned them into stepping stones. And instead of it bringing you down, it brought you higher. They say they put up roadblocks and you made them into building blocks, and you began to use what was meant to kill you to build you. They say they threw dirt and you turned it into fertilizer. And instead of dying in it, you grew from it. They've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that since they can't do anything with you individually, they're going to get together collectively, even though they don't like each other. They're going to gang up to try to kill you. But what they don't know is there is something special about you. They don't know that you're not winning because of your ability. You're winning because of your availability to God. They don't know that you serve a God that don't play about you. They don't know that it is his hand, his power, his endorsement, and his favor that's on your life. And it does not matter what they do. No weapon that is formed against you is going to be able to prosper, because God loves you.
Right.
Keep winning, my friend.
Shout out to
Man, your ears
Senior
ought to be
Blakes.
burning 'cause they
Sir
talk.
Blakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, that thing, and it was another one I saw on here where it talked about it talked about our timing and where we should be and how people perceive us. And when I looked at that, I was like, I could relate to that, you know?
Yeah.
Look, listen to that.
The universal decision that we should eat lunch at 12. Who decided that it should take 4 years apiece to finish high school?
That.
Who made the decision that a minute should be 60
That's you.
seconds and an hour should be 60 minutes? These are all questions I've been asking myself recently. And I've come to realize that while time itself was created by God, its perception was created by humanity and materialized by these clocks we put on the wall. You see, there's nowhere in this world you can go and not find the clock. And that's because we as society put them there to remind you. You see, society says you should brush your teeth for 2 minutes. Society says you should sleep for 8 hours. Society says you should be done school by 22, have a career by 25, a family by 30, be successful by 40, and retire by 60. You see, we created this one-size-fits-all timeline for life, thinking we can all wear the same clothes. And when we personally realize that they don't fit, we blame it on ourselves, acting like we've gained weight. Stop letting society's clock dictate when you show up. My time is different from your time. And just because you're not where society says you should be at this point in your life doesn't make you late. It makes you you.
That's right. It's not until you hear it.
Oh, God.
Decision that we should eat for 2 minutes.
Bro, when I heard that, I thought about myself. I remember when I was 30, I stopped competing in track and field when I was 35, 36. I never worked a 9 to 5. I was always jumping around the world. You know what I'm saying? And I was always competing. And people would say, damn, man, you still running? I said, yeah, I'm still running. This is what I love to do, you know, and I competed way beyond, even when Carl Lewis retired, I said, I'm gonna do 4 more years. Carl's last competition was in '96 in Atlanta,
Okay.
right? We talking about from 1984, 1984, 1988, 1992, 1996, 2000. That's when I stopped competing. I started when it wasn't even thought about. I was in 10th grade in 1981.
Oh.
So when people start talking that shit, right? I used to get caught up into that, like, damn, maybe they right. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna train 4 more years. So here you are, it's your time.
Yes, sir.
They ain't got no time. This is God time for you, because everything you did up until this point led to this moment.
That's right.
That's right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to cut this segment here. And believe it, there's a whole lot more to go.
Thank you for the invitation, and definitely expect to hear a lot from me.
Keep us in your prayers and keep watching us. because we got a lot of good stuff coming. And this ain't the last time you're going to see this young champion. That's right, I said champion, because all we do over here is win. E&E Boxing Podcast. We out.